Good morning. It's Friday, and had a good night's sleep last night. Um, I want to share with you a couple of passages today about dilemmas facing leaders in churches. Um, First of all, just from 1 Corinthians 8, Paul is addressing the issue of whether they should eat food that has been offered to idols that they can buy on the marketplace. It's not a straightforward question. It's not like a moral question, should I steal? It's a practical question about bad consciences. And he says, we know that we all possess knowledge, but knowledge puffs up while love builds up. Those who think they know something do not yet know as they ought to know, but whoever loves God is known by God. And you can divide Christians into two different kind of people, really. Knowledge Christians and love Christians. It's a bit of an arbitrary distinction. In Ephesians 4:15, it talks about speaking the truth in love. And you meet some Christians and they're so concerned to tell you the truth that they put you right off. Others are so concerned not to say anything offensive that they never say anything at all. And some Christians major on truth and some major on love. They're both important. Knowledge is important. Learning is important. Increasing our knowledge is important. But so is loving and being kind. And you find different Christians concentrating on different kinds of things, perhaps because of their early life experiences. Sometimes it's about important issues. Sometimes it's not about important issues. And churches divide over personalities and over incidentals rather than the important things. I think I shared the other day about a friend of mine who's been suffering from mental ill health. And one of the elders of the church condemned him for being an inferior Christian, even though he was depressed and actually had medical treatment for mental illness. And that's a kind of judgmentalism that Christians can fall into. Excuse me, there are two different kinds of Christians there. One could be the kind of charismatic Christian who believes in supernatural healing, and when you're not healed, they blame you for your lack of faith. On the other hand, there's another kind of very conservative Christian who doesn't believe in healing at all and just says you just got to grin and bear it and just be strong and tough and just get through the other side, neither of which are very helpful. And so really talking about these two different things: knowledge Christians, love Christians; truth Christians, love Christians. And obviously we need both kinds of believers. And in leadership, it's difficult to get it right. Sometimes as a leader of a church, you can come over as very condemning. You want to point out the truth about someone's situation. I'll often say to somebody, so you're in this situation, what do you think the Bible says about it? And they'll usually tell me what the Bible says, rather than me giving them a judgment of them. At the same time, sometimes as a teacher in the church, we need to teach correct doctrine. Sometimes we have an attitude as leaders to say, let's be pastoral, which means let's not challenge anything. Let's not challenge anyone for their behavior. Let's just go along with it and support them, whatever decision they make, even if it's sinful. But we can't do that. Bloomsbury Baptist Church made a decision, I think it was in the 1850s, to refuse the right to preach to anybody who was a slave owner from the United States. That was a very brave decision for that church to make. Historical decision, but a very brave decision. Sometimes we refuse to make those tough calls as leaders because we don't want to offend people. And there's a whole phenomenon of people-pleasing pastors who don't like to offend anyone. Sometimes I think I fall into that trap myself. I want to be popular. But just stressing these two different kinds of approaches to faith: knowledge and love, truth and love. We need both. We need to be able to speak the truth in love. Knowledge can be an excuse for arrogance and puffing ourselves up. So as a challenge today, I would say, try and find somebody that needs your love. listen to them. Sometimes that's all that's needed, is to listen. I was meeting with somebody this week, and I said to them, I'm not going to try and convert you. I'm not going to try and have a go at you and argue about Christianity. I just want to listen to where you're at. And I think it was a very helpful conversation, because it meant I learned something about where they were at spiritually, which may or may not lead to something for the future. But two different attitudes: knowledge and love, truth and love. And let's try and achieve that balance that Paul achieved in Corinthians and Ephesians.